Welcome to Football Scientific. I am Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub and the CFL News Hub and FootballAnalysis1.com. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL, the Hamilton Tiger-Cats of the CFL, the Cincinnati Bengals of the NFL. I cover the IFL, the Indoor Football League, the NAL, National Arena League, and the ELF, European League of Football, on Football Scientific as well. Today, we're going to go through our Prediction-Palooza version 1.0. The DraftKings predictions on the IFL have not been released yet, like last week. So I'm going to go through my predictions today, then we'll revisit those predictions tomorrow once DraftKings has released their lines. They play tomorrow night, so I wanted to get my predictions in there. And it's always good to get before DraftKings. So it seems like I use that as a tool. Gambling is not a good idea, kids. I would not gamble, but I use their lines as a tool for analyzing my own process when I look at these games and teams. So we'll be looking at that today, and then, like I said, we'll go over to IFL one more time tomorrow once we have the DraftKings line. But I'll give my predictions today, okay? So we're going to start off by introducing co-host Wolfie D. Wolfie D's in the house. Wolfie D, what? Wolfie D, Wolfie D, yeah, Wolfie D, what, Wolfie D's who I am, boo, Wolfie D, hit it. Good job, Wolfie D. Okay, so first, we have some UFL transactions that may affect the outcomes of some of these predictions here. So first, the Michigan Panthers, they signed NFL.Draft potential draft pick, elite linebacker, James Neal. Yeah, so that guy could be drafted in the NFL today or tomorrow. Probably, the third day, Saturday. But probably be a late round draft pick. But he's going to play for the Michigan Panthers this week. James Neal. Okay, he's replacing linebacker Javon White, who's out for the rest of the season. They also signed long snapper Peter Bowden. Okay, so the Michigan Panthers are having to fill in some gaps right now due to some injuries. Okay, St. Louis Battlehawks. They're playing this week, as all the teams in the UFL are, and we're going to see for the first time this year, wide receiver Hakeem Butler is going to be active, and offensive guard Abdul Beecham is going to be active. So that should, St. Louis Battlehawks might have a chance to bounce back, although all you got to do to beat the Battlehawks, stop the run game, and force the quarterback into bad decisions. Brandon Silvers may help turn it around. We'll see, though. Edge rusher Carson Wells is inactive. Okay, so they lose one of their pass rushers. But one thing that's been released after the first 4 weeks is the St. Louis Battlehawks have the best run defense in the UFL, being led by defensive tackle Austin Foley. Okay, so they have the best run defense. That's going to give them a chance to win the game against the Michigan Panthers. Michigan Panthers like to pound the ball. If they can't run the ball effectively, then they put the Michigan Panthers in a tough spot. I have that being a very tough game. Okay, I think last week the Battlehawks really had a hard time protecting the ball, and they gave up multiple defensive touchdowns to Arlington. So even though defensively they played really well, their offense handed the game over to the Arlington Renegades, and that could happen again this week. Okay, so then looking at our predictions for the UFL Week 5. Okay, Friday, April 25th. That's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. On Fox, we have the Memphis Showboats, who are 0-4, traveling to the Birmingham Stallions, who are 3-1. Here's the thing, though. Matt Corral is on the inactive list for the Birmingham Stallions, and their starting quarterback, Case Cookus, who was the starting quarterback for the Memphis Showboats last year. So there's a little bit of drama there. Case Cookus got crushed by on the Showboats, their lack of offensive line. He's now playing for the Stallions. He's going to start against the Memphis Showboats. And the Memphis Showboats, they're going to have, they're going to go out there and do their thing. Okay, so I have this game going. I have the Showboats struggling to stop the Birmingham Stallions. Birmingham Stallions have not been lighting the rule umpire on offense, though. So I have this being kind of a grindy game. I think the Memphis Showboats will find a way to make a lot of mistakes. That's what they tend to do. So Birmingham Stallions, I got them win this game 24-11. I think they'll run the ball well. I think the Case Cookus will just play in the offense and hit the open guy. Nothing fancy needed. The Showboats will come out, and they have Dylan Wynn, playing his first game ever. I think he'll make a lot of mistakes. Okay, he's going to throw some interceptions, I believe. and the Birmingham Stallions will make them pay for that. So I have the Stallions win this game 24-11. Setting the total points at 35. Okay, I think the Stallions will not need to score more than 24 points. DraftKings is sort of with me. They have the Birmingham Stallions favored by 11.5 points, and I do as well. I have them favored by 13. Showboats underdog by 11.5 points. That's a huge spread by DraftKings. They're not believing in the Memphis Showboats, and neither am I. The over and under is 37.5. I don't think the Stallions will have to score that much to win the game. Now, I've been wrong before, though, so I have this going under at 37.5. If I was gonna gamble, which I'm not going to, but if I was, I would pick the Birmingham Stallions on the money line, and I would go under on this. But it's close enough on the over/under. I probably would just go with Birmingham Stallions on the money line. I can't see the Stallions losing to the Showboats, but crazy things happen, especially on Friday night on Fox. So I think the Stallions will win this game. So the money line for them, it would not be the best money-making opportunity, but I think it's the easiest win. Okay. Saturday, April 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern, Michigan Panthers, who are 3-1, travel to the St. Louis Battlehawks, who are 2-2. St. Louis Battlehawks have lost 2 in a row. Michigan Panthers, the only loss they have is for Birmingham Stallions. They're pretty good. They're playing pretty good football. So, how do I see this game going down? Well, I know St. Louis, they're going to start Max Duggan. They have Brandon Silvers at quarterback. They have the running game. But here's how you beat the St. Louis Battlehawks. You stop the running game, and you force the quarterback to make throws. And the quarterbacks they have are not great at making throws under pressure. So if you can stop the running game and take away their opportunity to run play-action passes, which is how they're going to make their living, okay? They don't have quarterbacks with great precision right now. So they're going to make a living by running the ball, and then pulling it for play action and trying to hit a big pass to Akeem Butler or Jakar Pearson, okay? If the Panthers can stop their running game, it's going to be really hard for the St. Louis Battlehawks to move the ball, and I think their quarterbacks will make a lot of bad decisions. They turned the ball over a ton last week, multiple times for touchdowns, defensive touchdowns. So that's a rough way to live, okay? Michigan Panthers 3-1, only lost to Birmingham Stallions. They can run the ball. Now, St. Louis Battlehawks is the battle. No pun intended. The Battlehawks have the best rush defense in the league. Michigan Panthers want to be able to run the ball so they can play action off it. But their ace in the hole is Bryce Perkins. If they start quarterback Bryce Perkins, he has the ability to run the ball well, so he's a good dual threat guy. He has a good zone read instincts. So I think that they'll win the game, not by a huge amount. I think it'll be a close game unless the Battlehawks come out and turn the ball over a bunch again. But I think they're going to come out and try to manage the game and keep it close and then try to pick up the win at home and avoid their third straight loss. Boom. So here's how I'm playing out. I got the Michigan Panthers establishing a running game, stopping the St. Louis running game, and forcing the quarterback into bad decisions. I think they're going to win the game 23-18 on the road. I think Michigan Panthers will win the game 23-18 on the road. The total points will be 41. DraftKings says they feel the Michigan Panthers will win by 2.5 on the road. They're the favorite by 2.5 points. So St. Louis is the underdog by 2.5 points, and the over-run is 37.5. It could be 37.5. It could go over that. I definitely have it going over that, actually. I have 23-18. I definitely have it going over on that. So if I was going to make money off this, if I was going to go try and do that, I would go Michigan Panthers on the money line. I don't trust them to cover, honestly. I don't trust them. I think they will cover, but I don't trust them to cover, okay? There's too many question marks. If they don't start Bryce Perkins, this could be a real mess. And we have no control over that. Mike Nolan does, and I don't trust that guy. I would also go over on the points here. Both teams can score. Both defenses can make things happen and score defensive touchdowns. That was proven last week. So I have this 23-18 Michigan Panthers over St. Louis Battlehawks. I have it going over, and that would be my best bet. I would either go money line with Michigan Panthers, which you're not going to make much off that because they're the favorite, and I got it over. That'd be a better deal in terms of like trying to make money, which I'm not going to do. That's on ESPN. That's on ESPN. Okay. Sunday, April 27th, 12 p.m. Eastern. ESPN, we have another showdown in the XFL Conference, another showdown that's going to determine a lot about the standings. So the DC Defenders, who are 3-1, after taking a loss to the San Antonio Brahmas last week, they're traveling to Arlington Renegades, who had to gut out a tough win over the St. Louis Battlehawks by multiple defensive touchdowns to win that game. They did put a little better on offense than the St. Louis Battlehawks, but not great. DC Defenders' offense is not very good, but they have a great defense, although the Brahmas shut them down last week and moved the ball by running the ball quite a bit. The Renegades like to run the ball. Luis Perez is a good quarterback. Jordan Tayama is a good quarterback. They don't run the ball as well as Arlington Renegades do when they get it moving. They're both 3-1 though. Both defenses can make some things happen. The DC Defenders tend to add a lot of pressure and tight coverage. Arlington Renegades have a lot of takeaways. I would say takeaways win the day. I got Arlington Renegades winning this game 22-20 for a total score of 42 points. DraftKings agrees with me. They have Arlington Renegades winning as a 3.5-point favorite, and DC Defenders a 3.5-point underdog, and they have it over under at 39.5. Okay, so I see this one going over just because both teams they can score on defense if they need to. That's hard to predict. I do have Arlington winning the game outright, but I don't know if they'll cover that 3.5 points. That's going to be tough. So what would I do? I would go with the Defenders to cover. I think they're good enough to make that close. I would cover 3.5 points with the DC Defenders, but you could also go money line with Arlington Renegades. I would not do anything with that over-under. I think that's going to be hard to predict. So I would say money line, Arlington Renegades, or DC Defenders with points, although they would have lost by points last week. Okay, all right. ESPN, that's on ESPN as well. It's an ESPN weekend. Sunday, April 27th, 3 p.m. Eastern. The Sombrero Bowl, we got the Houston Roughnecks, who are 1-3, traveling to San Antonio. San Antonio finally gets a home game after 4 straight road games. They finally get a home game. And they're going to host the Houston Roughnecks in the Sombrero Bowl. It's a bit of a rivalry, just in name only, really, because it has a cool name. Some guy in San Antonio, he runs a podcast just about the Brahmas, and he calls it the Sombrero Bowl, and that's kind of cool. So I picked up on it too. Why not? You need a cool name for a rivalry. It's on ESPN. Houston Roughnecks are 1-3. San Antonio Brahmas are 1-3. Here's the deal. Both teams are incomplete, really. Houston Roughnecks, they have a decent running game. They should have Kirk Merritt back. They should have a decent running game. Their defensive line is pretty good. Their defensive backs are pretty bad. They're really susceptible to play-action passing. And their quarterback situation is a complete dumpster fire since Nolan Henderson's out with an injury. Okay. So San Antonio Brahmas, they are sound at quarterback. Kellen Mond is starting his 5th game. He had his best game of his professional career last week, so he's ascending. They ran the ball well. They came out and ran the dang ball like I told them to do in my preview, and they did that, and they set them up for play-action shots to win the game. It also gave more protection for Kellen Mond. That worked out really well. And they picked up their first win against the DC Defenders. Okay? DC Defenders, awesome team. San Antonio beat them, okay, with help from their special teams. Houston Roughnecks, only team they've beaten is the Memphis Showboats, which is the worst team in the league. So with that in mind, here's how I have this playing out. I got the San Antonio Brahmas winning this game 18-16 in their home opener. 18-16 should be a close game. Rough and tumble, it should be a pretty rough game. Rivalry game, Sombrero Bowl, okay? So I got San Antonio Brahmas with 18 points at home. Houston Roughnecks somehow getting 16 points on the road, having a chance to win with last-second field goal, probably missing it, I suspect. That gives a total points of 34 points. DraftKings, similar but different, has the San Antonio Brahmas. That's 3.5-point favorites. Now, if you know anything about Vegas, if you're a home team, they give you 3 points. So this game's really a pick 'em. Probably 0.5. But you give them 3 points for being a home team when they set the lines. That's how they get their margin for error and try to make some money. So they have the Brahmas winning by 3.5 points. They have the Houston Roughnecks losing by 3.5 points. They have an over-under at 38.5. Just based on how both teams play, unless there's a lot of special teams and defensive touchdowns, I don't expect them to light the scoreboard up to go over 38.5 points. I do have the Brahmas winning the game straight up, but I don't have them winning the game by more than 3.5 points. I just think, they've not played well this year. They played a lot better last week. If they come in and run a similar game plan, they have a chance. But the Roughnecks also kind of seen that game plan, so it's more complicated. The over and under set at 38.5. I'm going under on that. So there's 3 options here. If I was going to bet on this game, there's 3 things I would look at. First, I could take the Houston Roughnecks with the points. I think it will be a close game. I think it is a picking game. So I'd take Houston Roughnecks with the points. That'd be a moneymaker. I could take the San Antonio Brahmas on the money line. That would be a winner, but way less valuable than the Houston Roughnecks with points. And an over-under, I got that a sound under, okay? A sound under. That's the best way to make points money off this is going to be Houston Roughnecks and points. The over-under is a little bit more safe, but nothing's really safe in the UFL. You never know, okay? That's why I don't gamble on it, because you're going to lose some money probably. Okay, NAL, Columbus Lions. They're preparing for a big matchup this week. Every week's a big matchup in NAL, but they're preparing themselves to face the Beaumont. Wait, no. They're going to face someone. We shouldn't jump ahead like that. Columbus Lions, they signed defensive line Tyler Clark, trying to get their defense rebuilt. They thought they were pretty good to start the year, but really Carolina Cobras were just horrible. They're falling apart at the seams. But I think they're still playing this week, so I guess the people that told me to be quiet, because I don't know what I'm talking about, were right on that. But I haven't heard anything from them. Omaha Beef, they signed defensive back Charles Reed. They're trying to win another game in a row. After surviving that matchup with the San Antonio or Sioux City Bandits last week, they had a hard time. They did put defensive back Adorian Beach on the 14-day IR. That's why they had to sign defensive back Charles Reed to replace him. Okay, so looking at the games. Okay, we got the Carolina Cobras, who are 2-4. They've lost 2 in a row to the Idaho Horsemen. And then to the Wheeling Miners. They got beat soundly by the Wheeling Miners last week. They're descending as they go. They're traveling to the Shreveport Rougarou, who are 2-2. They beat the Wheeling Miners. And they beat a team that's outside the league. So, tough game to pick, honestly. I initially wanted to pick the Carolina Cobras, but they burnt me so much. And they're so unstable. I couldn't do it. And Wolfie D likes the Shreveport Rougarou. Right, Wolfie D. Rougarou! Let's go, Rougarou! I just couldn't break his heart and go against the Rougarou. Rougarou! Let's go, Rougarou! Let's go, Shreveport! I had to go with the Rougarou. So they're both, like I said, Carolina's 2-4. Shreveport's 2-2. Not an impressive 2-2. This game's Saturday, April 26th at 8 p.m. I don't think you can gamble on these games. I don't know anyone that takes bets on them, but I got the Shreveport Rougarou win this game 36-31. Probably get their biggest win in the history of their NAL existence to get to Carolina Cobras. You know, the Cobras are descending. Shreveport would take a big win here, and it'd be bragging rights, okay, against a historically good team. So I got Shreveport Rougarou gutting out a tough win, 36-31. I got total points of 67. Kind of a rough and tumble, ground and pound game. Saturday, April 26th, 8:10 p.m. These can all be seen on the National Arena League channel on YouTube. We got the Beaumont Renegades traveling to the Sioux City Bandits. If you remember, in Beaumont's first game of the season, they played the Sioux City Bandits. Sioux City Bandits jumped up on them early. Beaumont found themselves, came back, and won that game 49-46. That was in Beaumont. Beaumont since then has beaten the Omaha Beef, and they've beaten the Columbus Lions. I don't see a large number of injuries on their roster. Sioux City Bandits are coming off that physical game against the Omaha Beef, but it is a home game, so I expect a very tough game here. Beaumont Renegades are my number 1 team in NAL right now. Sioux City Bandits are my number 3 team. This is a really sound matchup, but I have yet to see Beaumont lose a game, so I'd hate to pick against them. So I got the Beaumont Renegades going on the road against Sioux City Bandits and winning 43-41 with a total points of 84. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize to the Beaumont Renegades, but I hope I didn't jinx them or something, you know? Okay. Saturday, April 26th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Now we have the Columbus Lions, who are 2-2, traveling to the Colorado Spartans, who are 3-2. This is where we're only going to find a lot about Columbus, okay? So Columbus has beaten and lost to the Carolina Cobras, who are descending. They lost last week to the Beaumont Renegades, who are ascending to the top of the league. So now Colorado Spartans are having one of their better years they've had in their franchise history at 3-2. So now we're going to see if the Columbus Lions are for real or not, okay? They're going to travel to Colorado on a road game. If they can beat the Colorado Spartans, they're a playoff contender. If they lose to Colorado Spartans, they put the Shreveport Rougarou in second place. That's how it goes down. They put Shreveport Rougarou in second place in the American Conference then, and that would be awesome. So I have this game going 34-27. Colorado Spartans, they found their passing game last week. They did not just run the ball. Columbus Lions turned the ball over quite a bit last time they played. Kind of reckless with the ball. I have the Colorado Spartans winning this game, and a huge win for them. 34-27 over the Columbus Lions. Total points 61. I got the Spartans winning that game. Okay, and then another game between teams that are not necessarily in the NAL, but kind of are. Making up for Corpus Christi, who tapped out to go to the AF1 because they didn't have their money to pay their players, pretty much. Saturday, April 26th, 9 p.m. Eastern. This will be on the National Arena League channel. The Las Vegas Kings, if you remember, they got destroyed by the Colorado Spartans, 65-14 or something. Las Vegas Kings are playing another game, and they're traveling to the Idaho Horsemen, who got shut out last week by the Colorado Spartans, 49-0. Six interceptions thrown. I suspect this game will be more, it will not be a good game. It will not be close, but it will be more close than Colorado Spartans and Las Vegas Kings, okay? So I have the Idaho Horsemen bouncing back from their 6 interception outing last week and beating the IFA, which is the lower league, Las Vegas Kings, 42-16. 42-16. And total points of 58 points. The Las Vegas Kings are not ready for this NAL competition, but they're filling in spots, so it's helping out the NAL team. So that's my picks for that. Okay, looking at the IFL, a bunch of movement today. Jacksonville Sharks, bad news for Jacksonville Sharks, really. This is real bad news, okay? They signed kicker Mark Orozco. That's cool. They released linebacker Ronald Marlborough Jr. And they have a CFL exempt player, Marquise McLean, who's either about to be signed or has been signed by the CFL. I didn't see an announcement, so I think he will be signed soon by the CFL. And exempt means he doesn't count. They can add someone in his place. It doesn't count against the roster. But he's still on if he comes back from the CFL. Probably gets cut in camp, you know. Short-term IR. This is where it really hurts the Jacksonville Sharks. Defensive lineman Rashawn Wilkins is out. This is why Jimmy Robinson did not play last week. He is out on short-term IR. He's only out for 2 weeks. These guys are all out 2 weeks. And then to make matters worse, running back Tyler King for the Jacksonville Sharks is out 2 weeks. Okay, so why is that a problem? Because they like to run the ball. They have that balance of their running game and their passing game. They're not going to have that, so you're going to have to come out passing against probably the toughest opponent they've had so far this year in the Quad City Steamwheelers, the most balanced team they've faced. San Antonio Gunslingers, they made some moves. If you remember, they got rid of a couple quarterbacks this week, and one of them got picked up by Jorge Reyna, got picked up by the Tucson Sugar Skulls, helping them get their first win. But the San Antonio Gunslingers have signed quarterback Zachary Reeder, who played for Iowa Barnstormers last year. He can throw the ball, but doesn't run the ball much. I think this is a bad move. Defensive lineman Justin Sykes and defensive back Michael Miller are all now part of the San Antonio Gunslingers. We're trying to build the defense up. I think Zach Reeder's a guy who looks good on paper, but not so good playing quarterback in the IFL. They released defensive back Dixon Danye, and then quarterback Malik Henry, who's started their games up to this point. He's gone. It's either going to be a big success between Zachary Reeder or it's going to be a huge disaster. I think it's going disaster right now. I don't like Zachary Reeder as a quarterback. Short-term IR, defensive lineman Charles Gilbert. He has been moved to the short-term IR. That's going to hurt their defense. Try to add some defensive players. Okay, so we're going to IFL now. The predictions are, like I said, DraftKings has not announced their lines on this yet, so I'm going to give my lines today, and then we'll cross-check it tomorrow with DraftKings in Vegas here, okay? So first, speaking of Vegas, Saturday, April 26th, 7:05 p.m., the Vegas Nighthawks will travel to the San Antonio Gunslingers. I have the Nighthawks winning this game 41-37 because I feel the Vegas Nighthawks have a better defense than the San Antonio Gunslingers. San Antonio Gunslingers have issues at their quarterback position. Vegas Nighthawks have quarterback Jerome Johnson. I don't think the Gunslingers play good enough defense to shut down Jerome Johnson like the other teams have this year. But we do have Vegas Nighthawks 1-2, and we have San Antonio Gunslingers 1-3. Neither team is stellar. I think that Jerome Johnson will not be stopped by San Antonio Gunslingers, and I think the Gunslingers will struggle with chemistry on offense. So I have the Vegas Nighthawks going to San Antonio and win this game 41-37 with a total points of 78 points. We'll see what DraftKings says tomorrow. Saturday, April 26th, 8:05 p.m. Eastern on Jacksonville Sharks. I mentioned Jimmy Robinson and Tyler King are out running back. They're going to go visit the Quad City Steamwheelers. This is really bad timing for having your running backs hurt. Is when you're going to face the undefeated team. You're going to face the best team in the league so far record-wise. They haven't played the best competition, but still. Jacksonville Sharks are 3-1. Quad City's 4-0. Jacksonville's going to be short their running backs and have to pass the ball a lot. I think they're going to turn the ball over quite a bit. So, because of that, I think the Quad City Steamwheelers, they're going to have the ability with Jared Ware to be able to run the ball. Daquan Neal's going to pass the ball well. They probably won't play a pretty game, but they'll play good enough to win. I see the Quad City Steamwheelers win this game 33-27. Total under 69 points. I just don't think Quad City will need to score that much, and Jacksonville will not be able to score that much without the running game. Because they like play action. Even in the interim, they like play action. You can't do that when your running backs are all hurt. Okay? All right. We'll see what DraftKings says tomorrow. But I got the Quad City winning that game 33-27. Okay, Saturday, April 26th at 8:05. Now, let's go back. I had this Sharks winning this game before I knew Jimmy Robinson was hurt. I had them winning 36-33 with the running game. So, I mean, they're not destroyed because Jimmy Robinson's there, but it's going to be hard to win against good teams. And Quad City is the best team in the East right now, record-wise. Okay. Saturday, April 26th, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Fisher's Freight, who's lost 2 in a row after winning 2 in a row, are traveling to the Iowa Barnstormers, who are 0-3. Here's the deal. Fisher's Freight got to get their quarterback situation fixed. Jair Wright not being there and Keegan Shoemaker starting for him. That was horrible. Keegan Shoemaker, 4 for 14, 5 interceptions. You can't win a game like that. Iowa Barnstormers have been throwing picks themselves. I mean, they threw 5 picks a couple weeks ago. So, Fisher's Freight have a better defense than Iowa Barnstormers, and they've changed kickers. I think they have a better kicker now. So, I have this being a bit of a grind. Iowa runs this open, spread, empty set offense inside the indoor football game. Fisher's Freight are more balanced. I say Fisher's Freight bounce back after 2 straight losses and win this game 42-38. Total points 80. I can't see the Iowa Barnstormers beating this defense consistently, but I've been wrong before, and it's on the road, which can be tough for Fishers. Okay. But I got them win this game 42-38. Very close game. Okay. Saturday, April 26th, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. We got the Northern Arizona Wranglers, who are 0-3, traveling to Arizona Rattlers, who are 3-0. Northern Arizona Wranglers are moving parts right now. They're trying to get it right. They just don't look very good right now. They look like an expansion team, and they're struggling to get things on track. Arizona Rattlers are 3-0. They're undefeated. They're defending champions. They're my number one team in the IFL. They have not always looked pretty. They had to come back and beat the Green Bay Blizzard on the road. Northern Arizona tends to play well when visiting the Arizona Rattlers. They have a rivalry there, and they tend to play well against the Arizona Rattlers. But I don't think they're going to have enough to win this game unless everyone on the Arizona Rattlers gets hurt, on their offense gets hurt. That's it. So I have the Rattlers win this game 63-34, 97 points scored. I think Northern Arizona will score enough points that the Rattlers have to keep scoring, and I think it will be over 97 points. Okay, the Rattlers are a better team right now. Okay, Sunday, April 12th, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. The Green Bay Blizzard, after their stunning overtime win over the Tulsa Oilers last week, are 2-2. They're traveling to the Massachusetts Pirates, who are 2-2. This is a huge game. Huge game, okay? These teams are fighting for third place in the Eastern Conference right now. It's early, but it gives them a win here would give them the inside lane in the Eastern Conference, at least for now. There's a lot of football to be left played in the IFL, but that would give them, whoever wins this game is going to have the inside lane for now, and they'll be 3-2, which would be huge for Massachusetts, starting off 0-2. They win 3 games in a row. That's pretty good. Green Bay Blizzard they had that big win against Tulsa in overtime, 74-68. If they score that many points again, Green Bay is going to win this game. But it's way easier to do that at home for them than it is on the road. And they got to go to Massachusetts. Massachusetts is always a hard team to play. They got a big win against Jacksonville last week without Jimmy Robinson playing. And they have a lot of momentum. So I got Massachusetts Pirates winning this game 52-48 and crawling back into the championship picture. Unless Kenji Bahar comes out and throws a bunch of interceptions, which is possible. Green Bay Blizzard's defense has not played well this year. They used to have a really good defense. Last year they had a really good defense. Their defense has not played well this year. So I see this one going 52-48 to Massachusetts and 100 points being scored in the game. That would be a crazy game. I think it could happen though, based on how both teams have played recently. Also Sunday, April 27th at 10:05 p.m. We got the Tucson Sugar Skulls, who are 1-2, traveling to the San Diego Strike Force. This is a huge game in the East. Okay, San Diego Strike Force, their lone wins over the Vegas Nighthawks, who have been basically, there's a template for beating the Vegas Nighthawks. San Diego Strike Force used that, and they won the game. Tucson Sugar Skulls are a much improved team. They got their first win last week. It's on the road at San Diego, which tends to not be a home field advantage for them. You don't get a lot of excitement or crowd there. San Diego, who would want to go to an football game? You get to go to the beach and stuff. Okay, so I have this being a tough, hard-fought game. I have 1-2 Sugar Skulls. And I got the San Diego Strike Force winning this game 41-33. I just think their passing offense is better than Tucson's total offense, and I think Tucson's getting close to being good, but I think they're going to have a drop-off after last week. Now, I've been wrong before, and they might come out and be better than last week, but I think they're going to have a drop-off. I think San Diego Strike Force tasted playoffs last year, and they want to get back to that. And they're a good team. They beat the Vegas Nighthawks, so, I mean, they're a good team. They have a good quarterback. Tucson has a good quarterback. It's going to be a tough game, guys. But I got San Diego Strike Force wins game 41-33. I think their offense is too good to lose this game. The total points is 74. We'll find out tomorrow what the DraftKings says about this game. Okay. The big news for today, this is the first round of NFL draft starting at 8 p.m. tonight. Okay, so there's a bunch of NFL news right before the draft. This is usually a smokescreen time. Teams try to mislead people from the people they want to draft so they don't steal them, okay? But there's a few changes that happened today. So first, Tennessee Titans, they signed Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett, who was released by the Seattle Seahawks earlier this spring. He signed a 1-year contract with the Titans for for $4 million, but he can get incentives up to $6 million. And I think he's coming there to play with Cam Ward, who'll be picked first in the draft. I predict that. Okay, Denver Broncos are fielding calls for their number 20 draft pick. They want to give their pick to someone who wants to move up and give them some draft picks. They would like to pick up more draft picks. This draft is not necessarily star-studded, so the more picks you get, the better off you have a chance of hitting big. A smart team would trade down right now. The Broncos want to trade down. They pick number 20, while the Pittsburgh Steelers pick number 21. The difference is Pittsburgh Steelers really need a quarterback, but Denver does not. So I don't think it's going to matter to the Steelers what Denver does. Denver would like to get more picks. Okay. Interesting note, I saw where President Donald Trump wants the Washington Commanders to go back to the name Washington Redskins. I mean, who cares at this point? Washington Redskins, yeah, it was a racist name, but no one seemed upset about it. But it was kind of racist. And then they changed it to the Commanders. I like the Commanders better. I bought a hat for Washington Commanders. I like the Commanders. I think the Commanders sound better, okay? So, I mean, I would not go back to the Redskins, but Donald Trump, or, I'm not supposed to share my political beliefs, but I just think he's just trying to show off or something. He's like, change it back to Redskins. Who are you? That's what I would say. I'd probably be in trouble. Okay, Houston Texans. They have pre-draft trade right before the draft here. They made a trade with Cleveland Browns. So they trade a 2025 fifth-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick to the Cleveland Browns to receive 3 picks. A 6th-round pick this year, pick number 179. Another 6th-round pick this year, pick number 216. And a 7th-round pick number 255. So the Houston Texans they found a trade partner. It's not for the 1st-round pick for the Cleveland Browns, so I've heard they were interested in trading down. But they did give some Houston Texans some pieces for more draft picks, so they're trying to get more draft picks as well. Once again, none of these players are star-studded. Maybe Cam Ward, maybe Travis Hunter, maybe, I can't say Abdul Carter. That guy's not going to be good. He's going to be a bust, okay? Quarterback Jackson Dart is expected not to make it past pick 9. New Orleans Saints, if he's still available at pick 9, they're going to pick him because they have no idea what's going on with their quarterback, Derek Carr, and they don't want to be caught without a quarterback, okay? That would leave the Steelers without a quarterback. And then 2 more quarterbacks to finish your training camp squad. Cleveland Browns have talked to several teams about trading cornerback Greg Newsome. I could see that being a trade today, somewhere in the draft, or tomorrow, or Saturday. Greg Newsome, they included in that. The Eagles, the Commanders, the Lions, the Rams, they are all interested in the Falcons. They're all interested in Miami Dolphins cornerback Jalen Ramsey and want to make a trade with Miami for that. No one wants to talk about until after the draft, though, because he's really, he's cool, but he's not that good anymore. He's getting old, and he doesn't like to wait for a parking spot at the beach. Okay, New York Jets. They keep going back and forth with Breece Hall. Breece Hall wanted to be the man, but he's part of a 3-man committee going forward. Aaron Glenn wants to use him in a 3-man committee. He's still not happy with that, so it seems like he could be part of a draft day trade just to get him off their roster to help their team culture and get rid of the moody guy who wants to, get all the credit. It's not great to have for a team. New York Giants, they are not expected to draft quarterback Shedeur Sanders, even though they keep saying they could pick a quarterback, but no one's expecting them to pick that. Everyone's expecting them to pick edge rusher Abdul Carter. I would not pick him. He's going to be a bust. But I could see the Giants drafting him, thinking he's your next Lawrence Taylor. No, Lawrence Taylor had a variety of moves. Abdul Carter only has a speed move inside and outside, and that's all he has. Okay, this week he's getting knocked down in Big Ten games. But to each their own. There's a reason why the Giants are garbage, and it's probably because they're going to pick Abdul Carter. Jacksonville Jaguars, they could trade down from their number 5 pick. They're very interested in wide receiver Teteroy McMillan. They don't need to pick him in the top 10, so they're trying to trade down, get some more picks, and pick Teteroy McMillan and try to set themselves up for a big draft with more parts. This year's one of those drafts. The more picks you have, the better off you're going to be. That's why it stinks. The Bengals only have 6 picks. But they have some very specific needs. I went through an article on footballanalysis1.com yesterday about who I think they should pick to get an A+ grade in the draft. I'll be using that as my measuring stick for how well I do in this draft starting tonight with the number 17 pick. So, Chicago Bears, they are now working hard to trade up in the draft to pick running back Ashton Jeanty. They're always doing stuff like this. They're always trading up. And think about Mitch Trubisky. Okay, they traded up a bunch for Mitch Trubisky. He's not with the team anymore. Ashton Jeanty is supposed to be all that in a bag of chips, but he's a power runner, and NFL is not good for power runners. They keep getting hurt all the time, unless you're Mike Allstott. That guy was awesome. I don't think Ashton Jeanty is Allstott. I think Cam Scadaboo is Allstott. I think Ashton Jeanty is going to be a 3-year player and be out of the league, probably with a knee injury. Not putting hate on him, just saying. It feels like the way he runs the ball, someone's going to take his knee out, and he's going to be sad. Okay, Las Vegas Raiders signed tight end Kadir Ishmael, just for depth. And the New Orleans Saints are saying, we don't know what's going to happen with Derek Carr. We thought he was good, and the team thought he could make the playoffs with us, but now he's hurt and probably going to get surgery, but we don't even know when that's going to happen. So they have so many question marks. They're just going to draft Jackson Dart and say, au revoir, Derek Carr. I've heard the Cleveland Browns are interested in Derek Carr, so maybe he'll get healthy all of a sudden if he gets traded to Cleveland Browns. Which I would not do. Just stay hurt, bro. Okay, in the CFL, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they released American defensive back Montre Braswell, who played at Missouri State. Goodbye, Montre. The Colorado Stampeders signed American running back Eno Benjamin, played at Arizona State. BC Lions released American defensive tackle Sean Mustin Sherman, and they signed American offensive lineman Blaine Hoover, who played at Tarleton State. And they signed American defensive lineman Tomasi Lalile, who played at BYU. So they're just shuffling the deck a little bit. I wrote an article today about the Hamilton Ticats signing Brandon Dozier. I wrote an article about Brandon Dozier, so check that out on CFL News Hub. They announced it today too, which is weird. They waited like a week, and they announced it today with Quantrez something or other. I wrote an article about him 2 weeks ago. They probably announced it, but they announced this new guy this week. I don't know what's up with that. Elf in the European League of Football, the Rhine Fire. They're trying to get back. They lost some pieces. They lost Jadrian Clark, who was the MVP of the league last year in the championship game. He's been a Nordic Storm along with Glenn Tunga, who usually determines who plays in the championship game as a running back. But the Rhine Fire have picked up a quarterback that's pretty good. They picked up Chad Jeffries, who's been in Europe for a while. He played in the German Football League. He played in the Australian League. He played 5 years with the Noob in the Austrian League. He was the first quarterback for the Munich Ravens for 2 years. The last 2 years he's played for the Munich Ravens. He's been really good. He got into the playoffs last year in their second year in existence. That's pretty good. He's thrown in his career in the ELF, which is 2 seasons for the Munich Ravens. He's thrown for 6,428 passing yards and 65 touchdowns. That's pretty good. 65 touchdowns in 2 seasons. That's really good. 6,428 yards. 700 rushing yards. He's also a dual threat guy. He ran for 700 rushing yards for 12 touchdowns rushing. He really was excited about joining because of Ryan Fire because of head coach Jim Tomasula, and they opened their season against the Paris Musketeers. So we're going to find out right now. The Ryan Fire have won back-to-back ELF championships. They lost a lot of their players to their best players to the Nordic Storm, the new team in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see if those players are the reason why Ryan Fire was so good, or if the Ryan Fire are still going to be good now with Chad Jeffries at the quarterback. The Stuttgart Surge, they signed 3 wide receivers today. Wide receiver Emil Rabin. Yes, last year played in 2 games, and he had 2 catches for 71 yards, a touchdown. That's pretty good. That's 35 yards per catch. He's not a volume guy, but he is an explosive player. They signed wide receiver Lionel Fritzen. Lionel Fritzen has bounced around a little bit. CEFL, GFL, 2023, won a championship there with the Schwabish Unicorns. They're one of the better teams in GFL. So he has championship experience in Europe. He just doesn't have a lot of ELF experience. And then they signed wide receiver Timon Stubeve or whatever. He's also a long snapper, oddly enough. He played in 2022 and 2023 for the now defunct Leipzig Kings. So he's a wide receiver and a long snapper, so at least he can long snap. Okay, so that's what we're looking at this week. Today is the NFL draft, first round. The drafts will be tonight, first round. Second through, I believe, 4th round tomorrow night, and then all day Saturday from like the 4th round to the 7th round, and it goes a lot faster there. Okay, so we're going to look at that, see how the Bengals do with the draft. Tomorrow I'll come back and go over these IFL predictions one more time, including the DraftKings analysis of that. UFL plays tomorrow night, so that'll be a fun game. Memphis Showboats going to the Birmingham Stallions with Case Goods making a return to the starting lineup, this time against the Memphis Showboats, so that should be a fun game. Otherwise, I'm going to write a preview article probably tomorrow about the Brahmas and Roughnecks game. I've already got that laid out, how I want to write it, so I'm just going to write that probably tomorrow. It probably won't come out until Saturday because they haven't released their depth charts and injury reports and stuff until Saturday. But you can keep an eye on UFL News Hub for that. You can keep an eye on CFL News Hub. I wrote the article today about their new defensive back, Brendan Dozier for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And then Cincinnati Bengals news is all over. I got all kinds of draft news on there, football analysis, one.com. And there's a bunch of other NFL news on that website. So if you're interested in NFL stuff, footballanalysis1.com is the place to go. Good. If you enjoyed the show, like it. And if you like the channel, subscribe. And that's it. And Wolfie D, got anything like to talk about? Let's go Rougarou! Let's get a win over the Carolina Cobras. Let's show that they are bad. Let's go Shreveport Rougarou! And go Bengals! And go Bengals. Thanks, Wolfie D. That's very nice of you. I can be nice sometimes. Yes, you can. Right, well, hey, I hope you had a good time watching the Prediction-Palooza. And we'll be back tomorrow to recap the IFL predictions with the DraftKings line in it, okay? Have a great night. Football Scientific portal is now closed.